Hi everybody, this is Chris,
This is Matt.
and today we are talking about Star Control 2. Dos. Not
Yeah,
1, even though I had the image of 1 up last time. Dos. 2.
totally different game.
Totally different game. Is a totally different game. Did you play Star Control 1 at all?
No, I didn't.
Star Control 1 is more like, this has aspects of strategy in it, and I'm going to get it kind of start spinning up here in the background for us.
Yeah.
Kind of not leave the title graphic up as long as I normally do. This is different than the first one, I would say. The first one is everything I didn't like about this game, and
Okay.
just that was kind of my
Oh,
takeaway.
Why does it say Star Control Tooth?
Tooth,
Tooth.
because it's long in the tooth. You
It's
can't
the
handle
second.
the tooth.
The second one.
Got kind of the audio going in the background there. Hopefully we're talking over it a little bit, because the music is
Yeah.
pretty good on this. So occasionally I'm going to let the music play behind us.
Yeah, I loved the music for this game. I got a kick out of it.
I did too. Before we get too deep in, though, I just want to say hi, everybody. Welcome. Just to let you all know, every month we play a game. This is not a review of that game. It's our experience playing that game. We may like it, we may hate it, we may whatever, but don't take it as an actual factual review. We're going to rip apart the things we liked and disliked and talk about it. It's more like a book club than any sort of journalistic review.
Yeah, it's very subjective.
Yes. First subjective thing, I love the 1950s pulp sci-fi imagery.
Me too. I'm a huge fan of that kind of artwork, and this was great. And it's got kind of like some pretty good, like early '90s techno kind of feeling music, and it's a good intro. Like I really liked it. This manual is kind of outlaid or the story is outlaid in the manual. I've actually read two different manuals for this game. I'll have you know.
You must really like this game.
Well, what happened is I read the whole story, and I got to the actual controls, which is kind of what I was after. And I was like, this is the 3DO version of this game. Like, dude, I don't even know what this controller is. So then I went back and got the PC version of the manual, and the story was there, but it was way longer in the PC manual. There's a lot more detail and background, so if you're into, lore and history and stuff, read the PC manual. If you're into the 3DO, read the 3DO manual.
So, and I'm showing the PC version here. This is going to be an almost backwards episode for us normally, because you told me to read the manual. I did
And
not.
you did.
I
You
did
didn't?
not read the manual.
Oh man.
I didn't read the manual. We'll talk more about it. We'll get into this game. Like, the first thing that happens is you start the game, you get to pick your captain name.
Yeah, I love the font on the ship and the captain name.
I do too. Like, I forgot that I had to name my guy for a second there, and then I remembered. So, Captain Blood.
Very good. And the ship, Captain
Desperado.
Blood of the Desperado. Nice. Yeah, that ship font is just the best.
Yeah.
So
It's
like
very
the
rarely
reason
we talk about font, but I do like the font.
it's noteworthy.
Yeah.
The reason I read the manual, and it's deceptive, because when you start, this is what you get. You get this menu on the right, and they just dump you into this universe. And it feels like the right thing to do at that point, to figure out what the fuck you're doing, is to go read the manual.
You know what's funny? Since I didn't read the manual, I instinctively knew how this game worked.
I will say that the first thing I did was head straight to Earth. And that's pretty much what you do.
I like that it's Krang.
Yeah, I know.
That is, you can't tell me
Ninja
that's
Turtle?
not Krang.
Oh, it totally is. He's just not in the dude's stomach like
Yeah.
he should be. But the reason I say it's deceptive is because it feels like it's like you need to go figure out what you're doing. But the controls to this game are so simple.
Yes.
There is nothing to this game, really. It's like the arrow keys, alt, and space, and that's pretty much all the controls.
And enter for your secondary
Right,
weapon,
and-
if you
and
have
enter.
a secondary weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's just not much to it
No.
in that regard. So really, like you could just dive right in, and the hard part is the alt. Like once you figure out alt, you're golden.
Yeah. Right. No, the game is the game is successful in that simple to learn, hard to master.
Mm-hmm.
And the hard to master part is actually the thing that knocks me out of the game every time, because it's not a hard to master like overall strategy wise. Gather supplies, bring them back, upgrade your ship. Gather supplies, bring them back, upgrade your ship. Keep doing that, keep talking to people, keep bringing them into the fold, and eventually fight the overlords and win. The combat is so, like, the first few combats I hit are so kick you in the balls. Like, you get one right away that is deceptively simple,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of them are... It knocks me out of the flow of the game. And if you haven't been saving every so often, that can end your game, and now you've got to go back an hour or so to whenever your last save is, and it just makes me rage quit and stop playing the game, and that's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I don't like how inconsistent the feel of the ship is between when you're navigating and when you're in combat, because you're like, I mean, I get that there's scale and everything, but when you're flying around, in a solar system,
Yeah.
it feels like pretty slow. It turns so fucking slow. That drives me nuts. I know.
Yeah.
That can be frustrating. But then when you get in combat, you're like tearing ass all over the place.
Well, and we'll see it here in a little bit, but even in navigation, your speed is inconsistent. I'm close to the stuff, so I'm zoomed in, so I'd expect to be going like faster, but I actually go slower. The closer you get to your ship in navigation, the slower your ship gets, as opposed to the opposite.
I loved this part, just
Yeah.
to interject here, because it's like there's music. I don't know if you can hear it or not,
Really faintly.
but it feels like like you just stumbled onto someone's rave. It's like an emergency rave.
Yeah, kind of. He looks like either a bouncer or the douchey guy at the bar. Like,
Yeah. This guy, I hated this guy. This guy is a total douche because he makes these little implications about the size of your mineral deposits. He's like, oh, another small one, Captain. Like,
Did you get any big ones? I got some big loads.
I got some big loads. Let me tell you. But sometimes you have a smaller load just because things happen. Landers get destroyed and you have to go back. But like, I don't need. Like, what are you doing? You're just sitting on this ship with your arms crossed, doing nothing, waiting for me to bring you things. Like, you don't get to condescend to me about my. That really upset me. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I understand.
I don't like feeling judged by that guy in the space station
Right.
who does nothing. Nothing. He does. Okay. I'm past it now.
Are you
but
sure? You don't
Yeah.
feel like you're past it.
Oh, it just made me really mad. I felt like I was like disappointing my father every time I dropped off some minerals. It was a lot. It was a lot.
A lot to deal with. You're processing up a storm right now.
Yeah. Get repressed memory Emily out. I need to act this out. Anyway, but yeah, so the ships are consistent. They say in the gravity is a thing, but not really in the early game. But you definitely have inertia. And the other thing that I really, really hated about the navigation is sometimes if you're like on a moon or on a planet, or on a moon that's really close to a planet,
Mm-hmm.
you start going and you want to go to the planet, but it's like there's like a grace period where you can't get to the planet, so you have to overshoot it and come back. That annoyed me. Just put me right on the planet.
Yeah, it couldn't decide if you're driving a sports car or a bus, and it just, the controls aren't fun, is I think the best I'd say. They're not fun. They're not fun controls.
Yeah, I really wish it turned faster in this view, because that was annoying.
I wish it turned faster in combat. Like I had in another game I was playing this month, I had my turn things decked almost all the way out because I just couldn't stand the turning to position myself for the enemy, and still couldn't do it. Still couldn't turn fast.
Yeah, the ship-to-ship combat's just so chaotic.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll come back to that when we actually see the combat. Let's talk about like this planetary Pac-Man.
Yeah, so the thing about me and video games is I love resource gathering. I don't usually don't give a shit about crafting, but like, you know, point me towards some resource and tell me you need 8 billion of it, and I'll be happy for weeks. Like I'll just go gather all that shit and enjoy myself. So that's I think why I've really enjoyed playing this game, was because it's just bombing around and finding minerals and exploring. Like that's most of at least the early game.
Well, and what probably really did it for you is like when you gather stuff, it just turns it into credits, and then you buy stuff with credits. You don't need 100 nickel and 50, aluminum and something else.
Right.
It's just get enough and trade it in.
Yeah, it's like proto No Man's Sky almost, because you're going to all these different worlds, and
but you don't have to worry about the actual crafting. You just gathering, trading, improving. Gathering,
bring it back
trading.
to that guy. Yep.
It's a solid formula. I know other places have tried to tweak it, but they usually end up breaking it in their tweaks.
Yeah. I will say there are a few things though about this overland view that I didn't like. For one, I don't understand the design decision to have the action part be so small and the map part to be so big.
The planet box in the upper left and the map box in the lower right should be flipped.
Yes. Another thing I don't like is that like they have classes, so you can see weather, tectonics, and like the higher the class, the more dangerous it is.
Yes.
But to me that felt inconsistent, because sometimes I'd be like, oh, this is a class 2 for both, I'm gonna do it, and then the whole surface of the planet is on fire.
Yeah. You also got to look at the temp. You got to look at a bunch of stuff and kind of weigh it all in.
Yeah, right. You can't just look at like what those are. But I did like that you kind of have to make those decisions. Like, is it worth? Like, I know all the resources are color coded, and some are worth more than others. So if you get a planet with like a lot, but they're base metals and it's dangerous, you have to like kind of be ready to step away from some of those. Yeah.
And when you find some of the other aliens at I won't say which star system, but you go to another star system and you find some aliens that are willing to trade with you for biological information, you eventually find out they're there on a time limit. So you're, under the clock for some of this. And that is, I think, one of the strongest points of this game. One of the things that makes it coolest is this universe is running whether or not you're there. So one of the first things you find is a distress call from Rigel. So this isn't spoiling much. There's a distress call from Rigel. You head out there. I don't have it in this video, but they're my favorite aliens. We'll see, I think, your favorite alien by the end of this video. But you head out there, and they talk to you, and they say, our homeworld's here, will you come help us? Well, in one of the last games I played, I'm like, I'm not waiting to be told about the distress call. I know where they live. I'm going to just head right there.
Yeah.
I beat them there.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
They got there after I got there, and then started sailing around, because I'm like looking for them. I'm like, I know you guys are supposed to be here, and while I was flying around, they came in. So when they built this game, they have some background stuff that's happening outside your control, and a lot of times when you play games, that's not how they work. They give you, when you go to Rigel, you see the ship, and if you get there first, or you get, however you get there, you get there. No, I could have missed it. If I had gone a little sooner or a little faster or done something else, I might have not seen them.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
And I loved the alien encounters for the most part. Like I thought the writing on them and the characters that they made were really good. Like they're all different and they all have kind of like personality quirks, and I don't know if they're like they seem to be like racially based quirks, like Fleefo's people are like cowardly, and I love that, and I like the writing is pretty good. Sometimes it can be a little long-winded, because they really drive some of those points home. But overall, like meeting a new species in this game is always a pleasant like experience. Even the bad ones have their own personality, and there's kind of this like wink wink nudge nudge, you know, all the time with the alien species that I enjoyed.
No, I liked meeting each of the new alien species. I liked learning more about the lore. I liked digging into the game a lot more. You know what I mean? Like, I really did. I liked that part of the game. I think what it comes down to is I liked 90% of the game. I can't stand the combat.
Yeah, for me, a lot of the combat turned into just running into people over and over again because I couldn't get out of the way, and
I wonder.
And it doesn't.
Go on, sorry.
I was gonna say it doesn't feel super cohesive because it all moves so fast, and like you have to manage things like power. Like you know once you get some of the more advanced weapons, you have battery power, and you have to like keep an eye on that. But it's just so chaotic that it doesn't feel like it feels like you're playing an arcade game. It doesn't feel like you're in a space to space combat, you know, bridge simulator or whatever.
See the first combat here pretty quick.
Yeah, these guys are great.
Yep.
That font is awesome too.
Don't each of them have their own font?
I think so, yeah. At least these guys definitely do. I don't know if the
yeah, I'd have to go back and look. I didn't think to pay attention to that. But
but this one stands out.
Yeah.
This is definitely different than the other ones.
Yeah. And there is a like upgrade remake of this out there that adds voice acting to this, and the voice acting is pretty solid. So if you are having fun, it might be worth checking that out. I would also say two things while we're talking about checking stuff out for this. Two, if you've played this and you like this and you want something like this, but you want something new, Starflight. You should play Starflight. I like Starflight way more than this, but it's a very similar game. I think the combat's a little better. I think the planets are 100 times better, and I'll get into my planetary discussion here in a second.
That's a new game, Starflight?
And Starflight inspired this.
Oh, I thought you said something about it being newer. I don't listen.
No, but Starflight 3 has a Kickstarter going. The
guys
guys
really?
who invented Starflight have gotten a chance to make another one. It looks a little cartoony maybe for my taste, but looks good. I'll be interested to see what they do.
Yeah. Star Control. There was came out in 1992.
Yeah.
In 1996, I think they came out with Star Control 3, which I also didn't play.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind checking that out. Like I remember seeing the box at the video game store.
I think why I didn't give this a chance back in the days. Jake was on us all the time to play this.
Oh,
but Jake liked the combat. Jake was like, you got to do the melee part, you got to try the combat. The combat's incredible. And when I didn't like it, and that was the part he was selling me on, I wrote off the rest of the game.
Sure.
And that's unfortunate because the rest of the game is good. So we're starting combat. You pick whether you want the side ship or your main ship. You lose your main ship, you're done. You lose your side ship, you're not necessarily. Stuff's flying around. This first encounter they give you is pretty simple because they give you a weak ship to fight. But, yeah.
I liked the ship that you used there had guided missiles. That really helped me out a lot in the early game because like I said, I struggled with the combat too.
I don't think you could play this game if your first side ship didn't have guided missiles.
Yeah, it would definitely be hard. And the thing is that it's not something I was like, I want to get better at this.
No.
Like, you know, sometimes when a thing is hard in a game, you get that feeling like I got to get good at this. Like, I want to be good at this because I want to have this experience.
I think it comes down to, I had a friend I was talking to about guitars and buying a guitar again and getting back into it. Like, you know, I want to see if I really want to do this. I don't want to spend a lot of money on a guitar right away. He's like, just spend a lot of money on a guitar. Or what will happen is, very quickly, you'll get better than the instrument, and then you won't want to play. I feel like when controlling these ships, I'm better than the instrument. I can't get any better because my instrument is actually bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting, like, to go through and watch other YouTube videos of people playing Star Control too, to see if anyone is good at this combat. Because I watched, I think one other playthrough of this morning for a little bit, and that guy was terrible at space combat as well. I think it's just like, I don't know, maybe someone's really good at it. If you're really good at it,
send us a link to something you do.
Yeah, and you know, teach us your ways, because
we're not.
No, it like the view changes. Like, it zooms in, it zooms out. You're like in a totally different place than you expect to be.
Well, and there's a wraparound in combat, so you can be flying away from them, and then you end up flying towards them, and you gotta.
Very. That was very annoying to me. Like, I would much rather have just a consistent. And like I like space combat to feel like, you know, on the bridge of a ship doing stuff, not playing asteroids.
Right. Yeah, considering I'm flying a starship that's going to have all this stuff to it and it's supposedly really big, I don't feel like I'm on the Enterprise. I feel like I'm in a sports car, and except when I steer. Like, there's no control, but the action has me in a sports car situation, and they're all driving sports cars, and they can steer just fine. And
I will say I liked the variety of weapons and ships that you encounter. And it feels cool when you get a new weapon on one of your ships, or you get a new ship to join you. That's a good feeling.
I like that you can recruit alien ships, bring them on, and then you fight in a different style. I think that's really cool. That's a nice touch. So you can pick the right rock, paper, scissors for the thing you're facing.
Yeah.
But you have to know ahead of time what the right rock, paper, scissors is, or you're gonna lose the ship.
Yeah, like, you get Fuifo's ship pretty early, and like that's fun to fly around. And I will say, like, I really liked the navigation system, because there's like a star map, and then you target and it'll autopilot there. I never manually flew around in hyperspace. Did you do that?
I did the first time until I realized the star map. Again, didn't read the instructions. But flying around in hyperspace, the first time I was just flying around, like, lining myself up to where I thought the planet should be. I also didn't know how to zoom in and out the star map, so like it was a real guesswork. Then once I figured out I could zoom in and out, I could aim.
Whoa! You can zoom in and out the star map?
Yeah,
I tried.
0 and plus on the keypad.
Oh my god, it wasn't Alt, Space, or Enter, or the arrow key, so I didn't even try it.
0 and plus on the keypad.
I got good at finding stuff on that star map,
You can get pretty good. But yeah, that 0 plus, then you can really zoom in, and like sometimes there's stars that are hiding other stars. So you want to sometimes zoom in and just make sure there's nothing else there.
Yeah, I apparently read but did not retain the 2 different manuals for this game.
Well, there's something about retaining.
I really liked the star map system, and like there's different colors of stars, and they all have some meaning and kind of can give you a hint about what might be there. Although my experience with that was mixed.
Yeah,
like they give you this dude, this asshole guy gives you a mnemonic device to use.
Yeah,
that's more for the planets, but to kind of give you a hint about what planets are going to have the best resources. And I noted it. I wrote it down. I never used it because it didn't hold up under scrutiny. Like, it's probably true to some extent, but I mean, there's so many stars you can explore, and
I like the build your ship system here.
Me too.
It's simple.
Yep.
It's not overly complex. You gotta, outside is the reds are thrusters for forwards, the right are inside for. Oh no, the greens are thrusters. Which are thrusters? Doesn't matter. No.
None of this matters.
Yeah. The green or red are thrusters. The other ones are turning. You basically can fill those blocks up. Then you've got the center slots to put your stuff in and put in cargo bays and more weapons and things like that. More crew. Your crew are your hit points. How do you feel about that?
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it with the lander system. I didn't like it with the ship system. I thought it just, I don't know. Like I would rather.
I'd rather put on armor and lose crew. Like, as they blast through the armor, then I start losing crew. But
I don't like feeling that like my crew is that expendable. And that's how it ends up feeling like.
Well, and then when you add like a crew pod, it's like, okay, I'm adding a crew pod to add more crew. So, like, how are they really giving my ship more hit points? Am I strapping them to the outside to be blasted? Or, like, why does a crew pod and then filling it with people give me more hit points when I don't really need them to run the ship?
Yeah, I didn't like that system either. And, like, I don't need a backstory for every crew member or whatever, but it just doesn't make sense. And
No.
there is something there with having enough crew to fill your landers and recalling your landers to refill it with crew and kind of managing that between.
Yeah.
That's
need
fine.
Enough crew to run your guns. You need enough crew to run other stuff. Absolutely. Make me have to use crew as like a fuel for different parts of my ship. Zero issue with that. And then have them die off as the ship gets hit. Also zero issues with that. But run out of crew and my ship explodes, I don't understand. And I know it's a nitpicky thing, but that's what we do here.
Yeah. No, we're nitpicky people. I don't think it's that nitpicky because it's like a major mechanic in the game.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's what you're doing. But yeah. I see you. Did you? I wound up flying around with a bunch of landers just because I got sick of them exploding unceremoniously.
I just started saving game and not because 500 units for a lander is too spendy.
Man, you're. I was gonna say cheap, but I'll say frugal because that's nicer.
I mean, so like when your lander blows up, you can't get any more, and you've lost all the units on that lander.
True.
And then you got to fly all the way back, wasting that fuel. So you've easily losing a lander costs you more than 1,000 when all's said and done.
Yeah.
And
yeah, right. If you have a juicy load of minerals, and you lose it, that sucks.
Yeah, I just like no, not worth it to me. I will, I'll just reload. I didn't the first couple times, and it ended up costing me. I used to keep like 2 or 3 landers just because of what you said. Oh, I lost one. I want to go back down. Nah.
Reload.
I'll just reload.
I mean, I definitely would say for the most part that I save pretty often.
I didn't save often enough. I'd forget about it, and then I'd get killed, and then
I definitely did that a few times.
Yeah.
There were times when I just like lost a bunch of progress or.
Which no excuse on modern systems. Like I'm running this on an SSD. There's no load time. There's no save time. It's boop,
right.
Boop,
we suck in that situation. That's a us problem because the game system isn't intrusive or bad. It's not one stroke, but it's like 2 or 3. You know,
right.
There's no reason for that. But yeah, I did roll with several landers, and I always roll deep with crew because I
roll deep with crew now. Yeah.
I take a lot of chances. You got to get those minerals so your dad'll love you.
Right.
Or so you can get money.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think I'm gonna go to Pluto here.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. This is good stuff. The other thing that I thought was vaguely alarming about this, overall the game has a pretty like fly by the seat of your pants view of life and like because like you meet there's a dude who will trade you. Are you gone?
No.
Oh, the thing's not moving.
Yeah, I know. I'm noticing that. Like, why aren't you?
Anyway, so like
I'll bop
you
it
meet.
forward here a little bit. There it goes.
Yeah, there we go. You meet a race of, or you meet a dude who will like sell you information and technology for. You give him information about life forms.
Yeah.
But you get that information basically by committing genocide on any planet, because you encounter life on a planet, you kill it, and then you get a little nugget, a little.
So I have to. I didn't completely not read the manual because I did look this up because I'm like, are they really having me like? Because I feel like shooting them isn't what this guy wants. The thing blasting out of your ship is a stunner.
I mean,
stunning. I know, but you're committing genocide.
Really though,
yeah.
Because the thing disappears. It doesn't like.
I'm gonna pause this for a second.
It turns into a biological information nugget, and to me that says that you killed them.
Yeah. So here's this planet, right? We're looking at Pluto. They've got this nice swirly, like this is what the land looks like, and then you got a close up of it. None of that matters.
Right. It's all totally flat.
It's a picture under a plane of glass, and you're sliding around on top of it, scooping up pellets.
Right.
I wish there was some character to the planets in the planetary exploration. There just isn't enough. And this is one of the reasons I liked Starflight better. When you go on Starflight, there's mountains, and that controls how fast you can go over stuff. There's alien ruins to explore that maybe have something, maybe don't. There's creatures that are aggressive and non-aggressive on most planets. There's plants to explore. There's water and all kinds of stuff on a planet that you're going to need to navigate around and do. It's an arcade game, and it's not even a really interesting sub-game.
Right. The only thing that you have to deal with is the tectonic, and even then, those hazards happen so fast, and your view of the lander is so small that you're either going to hit them or you're not.
Yeah.
It's not like there's much skill. Like the tectonic will flash for like a half second before it happens, but I just never stop moving.
Yeah.
That was my whole strategy.
And maybe you get lucky and maybe you don't. Yeah. If they had switched positions with that bigger window and given you the ability to navigate, completely different game. In terms of your ability to actually have some control over things. And, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. And the other thing is if there were the concept of terrain or anything like that, then you would have to make some choices in your gameplay. Because you'd know, like, okay, well, there's a lot of tectonic activity. I'm going over mountains. Do I want to risk it? But, maybe there's more minerals in the mountains. That would add so much depth.
But if I hover over the lakes, I'm probably going to be fine, but I'm not going to get to the minerals. But yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, no depth. There's no depth.
Furthermore,
and another thing, you young whippersnappers.
I'm really upset now about the biological thing that they try to write that off, because if you go back up to the ship and you scan for biologicals after you stun them,
they're gone.
They don't light up, baby. They are dead. So come on, it's genocide. Call it what it is.
Call it what it is. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this is Fuifo. I loved Fuifo.
Fuifo's great comic relief.
Yeah.
He's also, I think, the silliest looking thing in the game that I've found so far. Maybe there's sillier, but...
yeah, and he's got kind of like this farty music, like this blurp, 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 synthy farty music that just only adds to the comic relief.
Yeah.
He's like, he manages to do slapstick without even moving.
Right. And it goes back to, I like how they did each of the aliens. I really like that it struck me as somewhere between like 1950s, 1960s pulp sci-fi and choose your own adventure novels that I would have read
Totally.
as a kid. Like right in that hot spot crossover Venn diagram. Um, I like the graphics. I do like the graphics of the game. I think the
Yeah.
graphics are well done. I think the user interface, other than my lander problem, is well done. I think the exploration is fun. I was having fun cataloging planets and
Yep.
figuring out which ones I've been to and which ones I haven't. And oh, there's a treasure world I need to come back to when I can upgrade my landers. And
Right. Right. And the more fuel you add, the bigger your radius is of how
yeah,
far you can explore, and that it succeeds as an exploration resource gathering game.
yeah,
And it succeeds as like an alliance building
yes.
space story, but
Hmm.
it fails
The combat,
as an action game.
yeah. And I think that's too bad because I think that was the element they were trying to make have them be distinct from other games of the same thing we described. And when
Yeah.
the thing you're trying to use to stand out fails, does the game fail? Or can you overlook their experiment? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think the game failed because I had a bunch of fun playing it. Just but that's because I have that I
Hmm.
like that kind of thing.
Right.
So if you like that kind of thing, you'll enjoy the game.
Yeah.
The other thing I really liked about the aliens is that they're not all humanoid. They're really weird looking.
No.
Like there's a bunch. There's some sexy lady aliens later, but for
Hmm.
the most part they're pretty out there. There's like the
Oh, you
tentacle
got way
crystal
farther than I did.
dudes that
You got sexy lady aliens?
well, I looked at other people's playthroughs
Oh,
because
okay.
I didn't get very far, and there was sexy lady
Lady.
aliens,
Okay.
and there's some sexy happenings that occur, but
Oh my.
we'll keep it
Little
kid friendly.
Captain Kirk.
I won't go into it.
Little Captain Kirk going on out there.
There is, yeah.
Okay.
There's some references to Star Trek in this game. Like one of the names you can have for your alliance is like the Federation
Yeah.
of Worlds or something, and if
Hmm.
you choose it, he's like, that sounds familiar. But yeah,
I
like
didn't choose the
Fuifo, like
Empire of
Fuifo's
Blood, but I
people.
should have.
You know, good good guy.
um, yeah, let me scoot ahead here. I'm gonna just.
Yeah, the thing, a lot of this dialogue goes on a really long time though. Like
There's a lot. If you want to really dig into the lore of this game, there's a lot of lore to dig into. One of the things I like though is, or don't,
yeah, it's hard
or
to
don't.
know. I mean, I guess none of it's really necessary. Uh,
You could just
like
keep
you
exploring.
have options, you know.
Like, I really don't know what would happen if you decided to just keep exploring. Build up your ship, sail around, not worry about the game. I don't think anything bad would happen.
No, no, you know, I think you'd have a good time
Yeah.
if that's what you wanted to do.
I am moving much slower because I don't have the thrust engines on. What did you
Oh,
think
okay,
about
yeah.
um,
Yeah, that
the
autopilot
hyperspace?
system's pretty rad.
The
It's
autopilot is.
it works well. It just works. You don't have to worry about it. And it remembers like if you get interdicted out of
Hmm.
hyperspace into combat, it remembers where you were going and
Yeah.
it's successful.
Um, what did you think about like the hyperspace itself? Like going up into it's all red and stuff swirling around you and
I thought it was pretty cool. Like
okay.
the all those things zipping around are supposed to be other ships according to
Oh
the
really?
manual. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, those little zoop things
Hmm.
are like other people in hyperspace, I think.
Oh, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people in hyperspace.
Between the two of us, I think we did read this manual. I think, you know, you skimmed it and retained it, and I read it and didn't retain any of it. So
Oh, I just went in. I went in for hot takes. I went in to find out, like, am I genociding all these things? What's happening on the blaster? Or,
yeah, this is like this is a tectonic disaster right here.
yeah.
Uh, And
Like,
you can decide to recall off,
at
pick up
any
one or two
moment.
minerals, recall off, and come back. That red bar on the left side of the bottom left screen is how full your lander is.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a little while to figure that out, longer than I'd care to admit.
Me
But as
too.
soon as that fills up or is almost full, that's how you can like decide when you want to pull back off the planet, and then it unloads and you can
Yeah, redeploy. But
redeploy, which I liked. Like
each
that
deploy
added a
costs you
little
fuel,
bit,
though.
but it was just the flatness of it is totally not that great.
Each deploy costs you a fuel, and the blue bar is your data storage.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
took me
right.
longer than I'd care to
That's the
admit as
balance.
well.
Like it burns fuel if you
Yeah.
keep doing that, but if it saves you a lander, it's probably worth the one
Mm-hmm.
fuel.
Yeah. It depends on how many resources down there or what they are. There have been times where I'm like, okay, one resource is left. It's not worth me going down because I won't even get the money for the fuel.
Right. Yep. And I also liked that there's such a variety in the worlds, and like not so much in this screen, but some of them have a bunch of moons, and
Yes.
there's gas giants and they're pretty much useless, but they usually have moons.
A
So
bunch of
I
moons,
liked
yeah.
that about it, that it's really just like, you know, 8 colors of planets over and over again, but
Mm-hmm.
it still feels fresh when you go to a new system.
Yeah, no, there is some uniqueness to it. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention here. Didn't realize I
Yeah,
was.
you're full. Yeah. And I never memorize. I'm going to be honest. I never really memorized the colors of the minerals because I was just like wholesale clearing out
Yeah.
galaxies. Like I don't care. Like I know the light gray ones are like the base metals and aren't worth that much. But as far as these like greenish blue versus red, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't keep track of it. I just like knew that if it wasn't gray, it was probably better than.
Right. Well, and I knew I was going to take everything anyway.
Yeah,
So like
right.
what? And this goes back to they added some lore to it, but it was lore I didn't end up caring about.
Well, the thing that's cool is like if you wanted to be super efficient, you could expend the admittedly minimal
Mm-hmm.
amount of brain power required to remember what color minerals you want, and
To
then you
just
could just like
write it down on a piece of
selectively,
paper next
and
to
then you
you.
could note those systems, and you could build your own
Mm-hmm.
patterns and get really good at being efficient. But like I said, I just liked bombing around collecting stuff, so I didn't really keep track of it. Like there, you could look up if you're that kind of person on the internet.
I think
There's
the thing
lists.
though with being efficient is if your game's fun, you probably don't want to be. Like if you're having fun doing the thing, if you're having fun doing the collection, you're having fun doing the pieces, then you're not necessarily worried about efficiency because you're having fun doing the thing.
But if you like combat and you just want to have the most pimpin' ship as fast as you can, so you
Uh,
can
Fair enough.
do the combat over and over again, that then you could like figure out which planets are the money planets.
Yeah, fair point.
So, do whatever.
You do you. You play the game your way.
Yeah.
That is something I do like about the game. You play the game your way. It really doesn't funnel you down one path or the other. You could do exactly what Matt just said, and like pimp out your ship. Like here's an ultraviolet world. Uh,
Yeah.
Shit's gonna go down when I land.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
Uh,
see, like I like seeing all those different colors of minerals, and even though I didn't bother to learn what they meant, it's like like that's
I knew what gold was. Like,
yeah, you know gold. But like I don't know, do you want radon? Is radon useful? I don't know. Who
yeah, it
cares?
didn't matter. Grab it
I
all.
just I just want to hoard. I'm a hoarder. In video game worlds anyway.
Well, as long as the collection system is fun and not tedious, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the actual collection in this game is, you know, probably not super fun, but the exploring part is. And I really like that you feel like you kind of stumble on things. Like when you go back
Mhm.
to trade in minerals, the guy will be like, "Hey, there's something coming from Rigel, so you might want to check that out." And then you can just stumble on things too,
Yeah, the exploration being fun is, I think, the thing that comes back to why I don't necessarily care for the planet stuff. The planet stuff is fast and easy, but there's no exploration to it. Where with the Starflight, like I said, there's an exploration aspect to it that is
Yeah.
super, I think, super engaging. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
that makes you want to explore. It adds another level to the collection beyond just collection for you to enjoy.
Right. And the guy kind of tells you right away that you're gonna probably want to spend the first year of this in-game time
Just
uh
gathering.
just gathering minerals. But it's not like that's all you do, because things still happen and you
Yes.
still learn and you meet alien races and you still are getting new ships. So it's not like a total grind
Well, I'm glad you
either.
brought
Even
that
though
up.
I personally like the total grind, there's always things happening.
I'm glad you brought that up because that may be part of my problem with the game is I'm trying to get out there and get shit going and not doing my collection and not doing my stuff like that like I should be. And so I'm way underpowered.
Yeah.
So, maybe a suggestion if you're going to try this game, and I know I'm going to actually keep playing it for a little bit because I want to get deep enough into it that at the end of the year in December, I can have a few more things to say about it. I feel like I haven't dug deep enough into the game, and again, another point in its favor, that it's leaving me with knowing there's something deeper for me to dig into is a good thing.
Right. And I think, like, I was thinking about it today, we kind of have we always say that we're not reviewing these games because sometimes, we have real lives and sometimes the games don't necessarily grab us where
Right.
you want to just keep playing it over and over again. But like this is a case where, yeah, maybe it didn't grab you and maybe you didn't want to go home every night and play it, but you still like want to play it. And so that's
Mhm.
one of the reasons, for one, that we do the annual review, and two, that we say they're not reviews, because we're not guaranteeing that we're going to spend 20 hours playing it.
I don't know that I spent that playing it. Yeah, I know you did. I've tried over the years to play this game a couple times, and I've hated the first hour of it so much that I've never gotten past it. And forcing myself this month to get past that hour and play, and this is another reason why I picked a month for our reviews, like not a
Yeah.
week, because a week I'd play my hour and go, it sucks, and be done. Having to
Right.
push myself past that month and go, oh, there's more game past this first hour. I'd encourage people to tough through the first hour.
Yeah, and like I didn't really have beef with the first hour,
It's
so
all dialogue and there's a combat that's most of it, and
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
forced
the
like
amount of dialogue, like I also tend to lean toward being completionist, so I like listen to Fuifo's whole
oh
life
yeah
story, and you don't have to do that. It's kind of funny and
yeah
it's kind of pathetic, and I didn't regret doing it, but it does get to a point where you're like, okay, like this
I
is a
got the
lot of
joke already.
dialogue.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of sitting through this. It's at this point.
Well, and like for me, the game felt very guided. The first hour feels very, very guided, and then it blows open, and then you suddenly have all this exploration. So if you've pushed to that first hour, if you've gotten to Fuifo in like the first fight with the alien that comes and attacks you, and like that's your experience, and that's where you're like, God, I'm tired of Fuifo's dialogue. I'm not having fun. I'm not really getting to explore the galaxy like I thought. If this is the rest of it, I don't want to go on. And you drop there, you've missed the entire game. And you
Hmm.
think you've gotten the start of the game, but you haven't. And I think that's unfortunate. They needed to do more. They should have started you with, I need you to go to Rigel and get something,
Right.
rather than go to Mercury and get something. Making you
Yeah.
go to another system and come back would have been um, it would have engaged more of the systems first off from a tutorial standpoint, but also would have shown you exactly how expansive everything is and given you that taste of what else is there.
Yeah.
When you're playing just in the solar system, you don't get a hint of that bigger world, and so it all feels very claustrophobic and very boring for a space game. Once you pass that, everything changes and the game gets more interesting.
I noticed you didn't. I find it sad that you didn't put more people on poor Fuifo's ship.
Oh,
That
did
was
I not
always
give
the first thing
Fuifo
I did.
anything?
Like,
Oh,
Fuifo's
sorry,
been alone
Fuifo.
for so long, like,
Um,
and I would just like load him up with.
Yeah, this was me just getting a stream going this morning, just
Yeah.
getting some recording done so that I had it, because I used to record every moment of every game I played for the month, and I found myself not playing the games the same way I play when. Oh, let's go back just a half a second here. I'm gonna pause here. I found myself not playing the games the same way I would play when I just played them. So I don't record as much as I used to in terms of having a back catalog. And especially with this game, I knew the only way I could give this game a fair chance was to not worry about recording. Not worry about, am I getting enough time? If I've got 5 minutes to sit down and play, I want to play that 5 minutes. If I've got an hour, I want to take the hour.
Yeah.
When I do a recording, I'm always like, okay, I need at least half an hour to make it worth it. An hour would be better. With 2 kids and some other stuff I've got going on, that just wasn't going to happen for this one. So
Yeah. Fair
okay,
enough.
star map. I want to talk about. I want to actually look at that a little better with you.
Yeah.
It's like I was gonna sail off, and then I remembered that I could do the star map.
Yep. And it's Alt to navigate all those menus and.
Mm-hmm. So save my little stream here. Because what I'm going to do is go get in a fight, get myself killed,
Cool.
just to kind of show what else a fight might look like. See how I'm zooming in?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Zooming in,
You're going to
zooming
the
in.
Ilrath,
Yeah.
who are like those bug dudes, I think.
Yeah, spider guys.
Spider guys. I guess spiders aren't bugs.
Yeah. I don't know. I know bug is not a scientific term, so I feel no problems calling spiders bugs.
That's true. They're not insects.
But they are bugs.
There's a lot of pedantic people on YouTube, and I'm just trying to head that whole thing off. Like, I don't want to get into it.
Not on the internet.
No.
No one gets hung up on tiny
Our
shit
YouTube
on
people
the
are great, but are not YouTube people pedantic?
I know we keep saying that, and it's not to suck up. I'm literally surprised I don't get more shit in our YouTube comments.
Yeah.
I don't want you to. But like every other like video person I ever see or talk to is like, oh God, don't read the comments. I love our comments.
Yeah, it's a good time.
So
I always enjoy it.
I do.
Even when they're,
it
people
gives us a little bit of a hard time, but it's
stuff,
always been respectful. It hasn't been you're an asshole. It's like, no, you didn't do this right. I'm like, well, okay, I learned.
Yeah.
Tell us. We'll try. I should have put more thrusters on this goddamn ship. But
yeah, this is a little on the slow side.
Yeah, I can see down in the lower right that black dot approaching me, and that's an interdiction coming.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just head for it.
Oh yeah, you do it.
Come here, buddy.
Let's watch the sparks fly.
I
I like the spacey techno music too when you're in hyperspace.
I do too. Like
boy.
Here it is.
The not unklingon like ships.
Yep. Like I know those are supposed to be his mandibles, but they just look like a Wilford Brimley mustache to me.
Right. Yeah, it's hard once you see it. It's kind of hard to view it any other way.
I give them this old English accent.
Yeah, that's perfect. Here we go.
I say, chap, I'm going to kill you now. Sorry,
put
English
a bowler hat on him. You're all set.
So like he's invisible. I actually don't do too bad.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit messed up there, but yeah, this business.
I like how they show the guy controlling the ship in the little picture, like him steering and moving stuff. Like you can see he's doing stuff. That's a clue as to what's happening.
Right.
Because that's actually responding to the controls he's doing in the ship, which I think is awesome. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, I didn't ever think about that.
But yeah, like if you watch your guy down below as he pushes things, as I'm steering, that's triggering his actions. Same thing up there, as he's doing stuff to steer.
You were just hurtling around. This is how I did combat. Like I was not patient. I didn't just sit there and
I was very confused in this as to why he died so quickly, but after you told me, I forgot to give him crew.
You gave
It
him
became very
nothing.
clue.
You sent Fuifo to die.
Yeah, fuck you, Fuifo.
Oh, how could you, man?
No,
I guess
Fuifo's adorable.
when you know his whole life story. Here you go with the big ship. Man, you're just like nose to nose with this guy.
Well, I don't know what else to do. Like, that's
Yeah,
the
you
thing. Like,
ass around him and
the other problem with steering, like, you steer in clicks. It's not a smooth steer. So, like,
right.
I can't, like, really aim at him correctly.
Yeah.
You've got to be in the right position and the right turn. Yeah, it just isn't a good combat system, and that's the end of my recording.
Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about Star
Yeah.
Control. I think for the right person, I would recommend it.
Yeah.
For a certain connoisseur of hoarding resources, I would say go for it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I should probably enjoy it more than I do, but
Well,
and again, part of my problem too is I really liked Starflight better.
yeah, yeah, we should. I think we'll play that at some point, right?
I've got it scheduled for early next year right now because I do want you to see the difference while this is still fresh in your head. But
Mm-hmm.
man, we've got so much coming up, including I'm going to
Yeah,
transition to it
what's
now.
next?
Remember? I
I
know you
think
can't
so.
see it. Rings of Zilfin.
Rings of Zilfin.
I have been waiting to do this game since I think like the third month we started this.
Yeah, it's an SSI game that neither of us have played, right?
Right. I've played Magic Candle, which is the guy's second game and sort of has a lot of trappings to this. So
Mm-hmm.
before we play Magic Candle, I wanted to play Rings of Zilfin. When we gave Rings of Zilfin a test 2 years ago, that is a weird game.
I'm excited. Like I
I'm
love
genuinely
old
excited about
weird
this one.
games.
Yeah. This
Like
one
no
plays different.
rules, just out there.
Yeah. So next month we're playing Rings of Zilfin. Um,
And
and
our
we're
short
also
game is
playing
coming up. That's going to be
Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah, let me pull that over the top. Doot. Oregon Trail is the other short game. And anything else? Anything else you want to say or comment on or anything else?
no, thanks for watching.
All right. Thanks
I
everybody
hope
for watching,
I hope it was
commenting,
enjoyable.
subscribing, liking, all that stuff. Really appreciate it. Talk to
Yeah.
you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.